Hello, this is GuineaPigDan again, and I'm going to do another model kit building video. This time, I got a model kit of Mega Man 11 version of Mega Man. So, I'm going to start off constructing the blaster shot here before I start doing Mega Man himself. If you've seen my model kit videos for X's regular armor and his first armor, the same charge shot model is also included in those kits also. The only difference is the charge shot and the smoke effect are colored differently. The smoke model, as usual, serves as a stand for the charge shot, but since it's colored white, it can serve a second purpose. If you remove the charge shot, and you can use the smoke effect like it's a bunch of dust trailing Mega Man behind him as he slides. That's actually a pose that's shown off on the side of the model kit's box, and on the Kotobukiya website. There we go. Charge shot is all done. This is the third one I've built. I wonder how many more of these I'll have to build in the future. As usual, I always construct the hands first since they're easy. Mega Man comes with 4 pairs of hands total. I've mentioned before that the first classic Mega Man game I played was Mega Man 4 in the Game Boy. However, I didn't play the original NES games until I got the Anniversary Collection on GameCube in 2003, which also included Mega Man 7 for the Super NES, and the PlayStation port of Mega Man 8, and the 2 arcade games. I have not yet played Mega Man in base. It was a big surprise to me in 2008 when Mega Man 9 was announced, and it was going to be an NES throwback after there had been no new numbered installments in the classic series since 1996. I enjoyed 9, though when Mega Man 10 was announced in 2010, I wasn't too thrilled since it was just another NES throwback. Doing a throwback after so many years of inactivity was a novel idea, but despite adding new things like mini challenges, the Mega Man killers and their weapons, and Base as a third playable character, it just felt like classic Mega Man was doing the same dog and pony trick in Mega Man 10. I didn't want to see classic Mega Man just stuck as 8-bit throwbacks for the rest of time. So I was excited when in 2018 there was an 11th Mega Man game announced, and it was going to be in modern graphics. And Mega Man 11 was the second game I bought for my Nintendo Switch. And for this hand here, I'll play it at normal speed being built, since it'd be only 3 seconds long if I played it at 5 times speed. Look at this. It looks like Mega Man is flipping you off. I guess Mega Man 12 will have to be rated M for mature. Don't worry, Mega Man isn't actually flipping the bird. When put together, it's just another open hand pose. Either a hand to put on top of his Mega Buster for a shooting pose, or maybe it could be used to make it look like Mega Man is throwing something like the Metal Blades. It's kind of too bad that one-hand pose Mega Man and other robot masters frequently make in official art with their middle and ring fingers put together wasn't one of the pieces included. I'll include a picture to the side. It's almost like the Vulcan hand greeting. Next, I built one of the wrists, but before I show the video, let me show off this image from the instructions to better explain what's going on. The Kotobukiya website has not yet added English instructions for this particular kit on their website, so I'll put English translations on the screen. The top part of the wrist, C9, has to be lined up correctly with the bottom part, Q5, in order to attach, and you can see where they're supposed to lock in place. However, I had a hard time trying to line up these parts the right way, and I struggled for half a minute, which I'll play right now. I timed how long it took me to construct the other wrist to see if I did it faster, and it looks like it took me about the same amount of time trying to line up those parts also. First, I construct a joint that will go inside the center of the forearm, and from there, I'll slow the video down to regular speed so you can see how much I struggle to insert the upper ring part, C9, into the lower wrist part. It takes me a few tries to get it aligned, but eventually it snaps into place, and then I build the shell of the forearm around it. I guess I'll talk about Mega Man 11 the game a bit. I had fun with it. I liked the main game and the mini-game challenges. I was a little let down that Proto Man and Base didn't return as playable characters or even get mentioned in the plot, unless you read the character gallery and see Proto Man's single mention in the description for a Sniper Joe's. But I remember one of the game's designers said in an interview that they wanted to simplify things and just focus on Mega Man, and since the game has voice acting, I guess that would mean time and money would be saved not doing alternate cutscenes with Proto Man and Base as playable characters, like how Mega Man Powered Up had character-specific dialogue with bosses depending on who you're playing. I thought the voice acting in Mega Man 11 was adequate. It was kind of surprising to hear Mega Man with a more masculine voice in a mainline game after he had much younger sounding voices in Mega Man 8 and Powered Up. And yes, I know he had a more masculine voices on Captain N in the Ruby Spheres cartoon, but I'm talking the games, not the cartoons. Alright. And now the upper arm, an easy part. I like the segmented grooves that were added to Mega Man's wrists. It looks kind of like it's supposed to be some sort of mechanical segment, which allows his wrists to rotate. And it also looks like it marks where the tip of his Mega Buster would be when his hand changes form. I then moved on to constructing the next arm. After I put the two halves of the forearm together, I saw that the runner between them prevented me from fully closing the two parts together. So I stopped the camera, cut the runners off with my X-Acto knife the best I could, and put them back together again and restarted the camera and moved on to the next step. I skipped showing myself cutting off the runners so I wouldn't waste time filming. I just wanted to focus on showing myself put parts together and not having to cut off every single extraneous nub or runner or whatever. Looks like not entirely flat, so...
Looks nicer now. After that, I assembled the rest of the arm. I guess I should add that while the voice acting and sound effects in Mega Man 11 sound fine, I wasn't really a fan of the music in the game. The stage select music was very kick-ass, but everything else didn't really appeal to me. A lot of generic synthesized tracks that didn't sound all that distinct from each other. It didn't have very memorable melodies, which is a surprise because Mega Man games tend to have very memorable soundtracks. That's one of the few things that Mega Man 11 unfortunately dropped the ball on. Next up, the Mega Buster, a simple part to build. One of the gameplay mechanics I liked that was added to Mega Man 11 was being able to stun enemies with shields with fully charged shots. This was a mechanic that was in Mega Man X8, so I was kind of surprised to see it carried over to the classic series, and I think it's a welcome change. Having a way to save a little time to deal with shielded enemies easier.
Beautiful. The Mega Buster. Next up, building the knee joints and Mega Man's foot parts. Mega Man doesn't have all these extraneous pieces or gems coming out of his legs like X and Zero do, so the legs are very simple to assemble. A new gimmick introduced in Mega Man 11 is the double gear system, with the power gear that allows you to temporarily increase the power of Mega Man's buster shots and fire a gigantic blast if you charge the buster for long enough, and the speed gear which lets you slow down time around you so you can move more precisely. And one of the upgrades in Dr. Light's lab makes the speed gear even more powerful by letting you move at normal speed while everything else moves slowly. I'll just say that I use the speed gear way more than the power gear while playing the game.
I usually use the power gear against the mini bosses to beat them faster. The power gear's best utility is with the boss weapons, making them more powerful, similar to how X can charge his special weapons after he finds a buster upgrade capsule. But overall, I just find the speed gear way more useful for dodging enemies and obstacles or making precise jumps.
I'm not sure if this is a design flaw in the game where it feels like one gear is way more useful than the other, or if that's just my preference for playing. It would have been nice if there was a part you could buy that buffed the power gear somehow, like charging the super shot faster, just to balance out the upgrade for the speed gear.
The amount of time you can use the gears is limited by a heat gauge, and if it gets too full, you'll be unable to use either gear while Mega Man is forced to cool down for a few seconds. So you have to be careful how frequently you use each gear. Dr. Light's shop has an upgrade you can buy that increases the amount of time you can stay in speed or power mode before overheating.
I've constructed Mega Man's shoes. If you're low on health, you'll be allowed to activate both gears as a desperation move, double gear mode, but if you do that, then the cooldown will be much harsher, where not only will Mega Man be unable to use both gears for a few seconds, you won't be able to charge your buster and your rate of fire goes down a lot. This is a pretty harsh punishment, but I think the idea is this is supposed to be a last resort move, so if you activate this against a boss but don't finish them off, then you'll probably be screwed. I almost never use double gear mode, since when my health gets low, I opt to use an energy tank rather than risk not finishing a boss and then having to deal with the penalties that come with a harsher cooldown. One leg done. Here I am putting the knee joints into the casing of the lower leg parts and attaching the upper leg parts on top. All done. Next up will be Mega Man's body. There we go. Mega Man's legs. Next I build the chest and shoulders, and I had a hard time trying to get these pieces to fit together. I'll play the video at normal speed a few times just to show how long I struggled to get these parts to fit. I mentioned that there's a shop, and one of the neat features is you can buy all sorts of parts, like an upgrade that makes the Mega Buster shots a little bigger, the Power Shield upgrade from Mega Man 8 returns and stops knockback when you take damage, and many other parts as well. The game allows you to turn parts on and off, so you can make the game easier or harder for yourself. There's already a difficulty setting you can choose when you start the game, but turning items on or off allows you to customize the difficulty even further. There's one part, though, that I think is intended for challenge runs that forces your health to stay low so you can activate double gear mode on a dime. Personally, I don't find that part very useful, but if you're a player that wants to do a low health or no damage run, I'm glad that the option is there. When you beat the game, you'll be allowed to buy 2 special parts as rewards. The first one is an upgrade that stops Mega Man from overheating and allows you to use the speed and power gears indefinitely. However, this part can't be used in double gear mode, so it remains a last resort option. The other part gives Mega Man infinite boss weapon ammo. Remember that I mentioned I wish there was a part that buffed the power gear to make it as useful as the speed gear? These 2 upgrades together kind of accomplish that, letting you go crazy with power gear boosted special weapons at no cost. But these are post-game rewards that are meant to be OP. I wish there was a part that could do something similar without being so overpowered it destroys all challenge, even on hard mode. I made a mistake trying to put the chest together. You can see the shoulder sockets are sticking out of the chest piece. This seemed to me like the only way I could get these 2 halves to snap together, and looking on the Mega Man subreddit, I found that other people that also bought this kit had the same issue when putting the chest and shoulders together. There we go. That's how it's supposed to go. So the shoulders go out like that. Alright.
Actually, that's not how the shoulders are supposed to go. I should have paid more attention to the diagram in the instructions. I thought the shoulder parts were supposed to stick out because it was the only way I could get the two halves of the chest to snap together, but you can see in this illustration here, they're supposed to stay inside the chest part. I didn't figure this out until I was nearly done with the model kit, which you'll see towards the end of the video during the final assemblage. This next piece also gave me a little trouble. Mega Man has a collar that goes around the neck piece. However, the neck piece, as far as I can tell, just rests on the shoulders and doesn't secure in place. I looked up another person that built this same model kit to see if there was something I missed, and it looks like this is just how the collar is supposed to be. The collar can come loose and get spun around if you're adjusting the head. So this is a small design flaw the kit makers should have caught on to. At the top of the shoulders should have had an indent for the collar to go in, or little pieces that help the collar lock into place. The neck piece was also a problem. On the model kits for X and Zero, their necks taper off and you can easily tell which is the top and which is the bottom, but Mega Man's neck piece looks identical on the top and the bottom. I was indecisive which way I should put the neck into the torso. I inserted it and then changed my mind and pulled it out so I could try and figure out the proper way it should go in later. I'll place some footage here slowed down to show my indecisiveness before I pulled the neck part out. What else could I mention about Mega Man 11 as a game? Well, you're allowed to charge your buster and slide again, which is nice after Mega Man 9 and 10 removed those abilities, since those games tried to be NES throwbacks, limiting Mega Man to just running and jumping like the first two games. So level design takes into account Mega Man sliding, having little crevices he can fit through, and there are also obstacles where Mega Man has to make precise jumps, clear a fast-moving level hazard, or attack a fast-moving enemy. That becomes easier with the speed gear, just adding more reasons to why I find the speed gear more useful than the power gear. Here's Mega Man's Mega Underwear. It looks like I had some trouble putting together the pelvis joint where the legs connect. Having a slide back also means being able to use it as an evasive maneuver again, so mini boss and boss behaviors can be a little more complicated than in 9 and 10 where bosses had to be designed around Mega Man not sliding, unless you play Proto Man who could still slide. I like, for example, Fuse Man's Desperation attack where he zips around fast and tries to lightning strike Mega Man, and you have to quickly slide out of the way. Compare that to another fast-moving boss that throws tons of projectiles like Nitro Man and Mega Man 10, where having no slide just made this boss more frustrating.
There we go.
Next up is Mega Man's head, and you get a lot of customization here. 4 faces you can choose from, and having Mega Man wear his helmet or go helmetless. Though I don't think Mega Man 11 gives you the option of playing Mega Man without his helmet like in 9 and 10. Just thinking of some of the other bosses you can fight, like Torchman, who's characterized like a Jujutsu master, and can kick Mega Man across the room and make him ricochet off the walls. I think he's one of the more difficult bosses if you're doing Buster only, but it's these sorts of dynamic boss fights that makes me glad Mega Man 11 wasn't just another NES throwback. There's even a strange effect on Torchman where his body is modeled in 3D, but the flames on his shoulders are 2D animated cartoony fire. It makes me curious, what if a Mega Man game had the graphical style of looking like a 2D animated cartoon similar to Cuphead, so it looks like you're actually playing the animated cutscenes in Mega Man 8, but hopefully with much better voice acting.
Now we have to do the hair. This is gonna look kind of complicated.
Yes, the hair was complicated to build. When I say I like a Mega Man game that looks like you're playing the animated cutscenes in Mega Man 8, I mean a side-scrolling game with a 2D animated style. I don't mean a game like the Japan-only Super Adventure Rockman, which had choose-your-own-adventure animated cutscenes interspersed with first-person shooter levels. I just want to be clear in case some smart aleck mentions that game to me, which is usually considered one of the worst Mega Man games ever made. Mega Man 11 has a few still image cutscenes, similar to the ones in X5 and X6, I guess to kind of harken back to cutscenes you'd see on the NES games. And the few animated cutscenes the game has are in-engine with 3D models that are used in the game stages in Dr. Light's shop. So while the game's graphics do have a modern aesthetic, the presentation is still kind of similar to what you'd see in the NES games. I kind of miss the ambition of all the animated cutscenes that were in Mega Man 8, Mega Man X4, X8, and Day of Sigma and Maverick Hunter X. But I guess Capcom didn't want to spend time and resources on elaborate cutscenes and just focus on making a good game. Plus, they probably want to avoid risking another potential embarrassment releasing a Mega Man game with beautiful-looking cutscenes, but hilariously bad voice acting like Mega Man 8 and X4.
There we go. Mega Man with and without his helmet.
After finishing both sets of heads, I decided to finally revisit Mega Man's neck. Now this image is from the instructions of Mega Man X's first armor, but I wanted to show the slant in the neck that I mentioned earlier and how that makes it easy to tell which end the head goes in. Now here's the instructions for classic Mega Man's kit, and I guess since Mega Man has a much larger kitty-like head compared to X, Mega Man's neck doesn't have any indent that makes it easy to tell which is the top and which is the bottom. The Japanese instructions don't help much either, just saying narrow and wide. Maybe my eyesight is bad, but I couldn't tell which end was the wide one and which end was the narrow one, so I decided to stop worrying and guess which end the head goes in and hope I got it right.
Alright, here's the final assemblage. Let's go. Alright. There we go. There's the legs. I'll be doing the arms. No Mecha Buster this time. Ooh. There we go. Supposed to be like that. Oh, shit. Oh, damn it.
Remember that problem I mentioned with the shoulder blade sticking out of the chest? It caused an arm to pop out during the final assemblage, and this is when I realized there was a problem. I stopped filming and looked at the instructions more carefully when I realized the shoulder blade joints actually go inside the chest rather than sticking out. So I opened up the chest, readjusted these shoulder joints, and then I was able to put the chest back together with no gaps between the front and back pieces. I could then insert the arms without them falling out, or making the chest come apart. This still does not fix the problem with the collar being loose though. I did all this off camera, so unfortunately I don't have video of me fixing the shoulders and chest. Sorry I wasn't able to give my full thoughts on Mega Man 11 as a game and get to things like talking about more of the levels or the Wily stages. This is a shorter video compared to my Blade Armor video where I had way more time to share my unkind feelings about Mega Man X6 in detail. Short summary, Mega Man 11 is a fun game, and the double gear system is fun to play with. I just wish it had better music. Also, whose idea was it to make Rush Coil and Rush Jet share the same energy bar? That was annoying. I'll show off the completed kit now, and if you'd like to see me stream art or build more model kits like these, check out my Twitch at twitch.tv/GuineaPigDan. Thank you for watching.
Alright, I'll just skip to the end here. Fix it up. So there we go. Here's Mega Man 11 style Mega Man. Oh look, he has a friend now. Isn't that nice? You can play with Cut Man. Oh no! The Cataclysm theory was true. Zero killed Mega Man. Sorry folks. Anyway, GuineaPigDan, out.